Sleep, one of the most underrated principles of muscle growth. If you've been working out for a while, you would hear how important protein is, progressive overload, and consistency, but rarely do people mention sleep. Good quality sleep can improve performance, productivity, mood, and much more. So how do you get the perfect sleep? There's been a huge growth within the fitness tracker industry, but one brand in particular has taken the top spot: Whoop, with collaborations of extremely high profile athletes like Cristiano Ronaldo and Mike Thurston. Now, unfortunately, I didn't get the call up from Whoop, but what that does mean is I can give you a completely unbiased review of my experience with the Whoop band, whether it's good, whether it's bad, and whether it's worth the investment, because I'm not getting paid from this, there's no referral link or anything like that, so it's a completely unbiased review. And yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. The features. Whoop 4.0 is a fitness and health tracker used to optimize performance and recovery. It has a heart rate monitor that monitors your heart rate, obviously, and it does this throughout the day and night. Whoop also tracks your sleep by analyzing sleep patterns and gives you a lot of data on sleep stages and overall sleep quality, and it even offers sleep coaching to let you know when you should sleep for better rest, which is actually very cool. Recovery. Whoop measures things like resting heart rate variability, and quite a lot more to understand how well your body is actually recovered. Tracking strain. Strain is basically how hard and intense you're working. So you can use this data to know when to crank up the intensity and work, or when to recover and take a much needed rest. And other cool features, it tracks your stress levels, it's completely waterproof, tracks your training, so there's a lot of very helpful features. And with the Whoop, you wear it 24/7 as it just straps onto your wrist with no screen at all, as you get all of the data from an app. So let's get into the pros and the cons of the Whoop band. And let's start with the pros, so the benefits. With Whoop, they've actually got a really good battery life. Like, you get 4 to 5 days of full charge after just charging it once for 2 hours. And with the charging system, you basically just put a battery charger or a battery pack onto the Whoop band, and you can still walk around whilst it's charging, which is really helpful as not many fitness trackers are able to do that. Another really good feature about the Whoop is its functionality during training, as it's so easy to put on your wrist and just forget about it whilst you're training. Whereas with something like an Aura band, you have to put it on your actual finger, and when you're trying to do things like deadlifts or rows or use dumbbells, it's a lot harder and it sort of gets in the way as it's a ring. But whereas with the Whoop band, it's literally just a strap on your wrist, so it never interferes with training. Recovery during the week. Now this is actually super helpful, because with recovery, I'm pretty bad at this. I always just try and work, and it can lead to burnout. But when you've got something which is actually tracking, your recovery, your resting heart rate, and it's telling you when exactly you need to recover and rest, that's super helpful and can actually lead to better performance as you're recovering properly and then you're training better. So it's really helpful if you're looking to completely optimize your training as well as your recovery. With the actual tracker itself, you can take this off and you can put it into like a sleeve, like a knee sleeve, or even on your ankle. So this is very helpful for people who are playing at an elite level of sports, like athletics, or high level like fighting, like Muay Thai, as most high level sports won't let you play with like a band or a necklace. So by having the tracker, which you can take off and put it into different areas of your body, and this can be really important for high level athletes. However, obviously most people aren't high level athletes, so what would the Whoop be best for? And in my opinion, I think the best feature of the Whoop band would be the sleep, because for me, I used to always think I was hitting 8 hours of sleep because I went to bed at, let's say, like 10 and woke up at 6, and I always thought there was 8 hours. But when I actually used the Whoop, I learned that it took my body about an hour or even an hour and a half sometimes to get to sleep. So in fact, I was getting around 6 or even 7 hours of sleep, which wasn't the 8 hours that I thought it was. And one benefit of having a Whoop band, which I really like, is the fact that Whoop will actually send you the new updated version of the band completely free of charge. So this is super helpful because they're constantly updating it. I think there's even a Whoop 5.0 which is coming up soon. So on to the cons. What are the bad aspects of the Whoop band? And one really annoying problem with the Whoop band is the fact that it's got a super clunky charger. So it's really helpful as you can, charge on the go, but when you're walking around and it's got like a huge just clunky thing on your wrist, like it just looks a bit crap, to be honest. So aesthetics aside, it's super helpful, but you do look like a bit of a twat when you're walking around with a fat off like just boulder or mushroom on your wrist. So yeah, that's a little bit annoying. So coming on to the main issue I have with the Whoop band, and it's getting too analytical over the numbers, because sometimes I'd wake up out of bed, thought I had like a great sleep, be all buzzing, energetic, and then I'd open up my phone, I'd check the Whoop and it said I had like 5 hours of sleep, and then I just started to feel a bit more tired and a bit more lethargic. So by constantly checking the numbers on the Whoop band, it actually made me a bit more tired sometimes. So I think the best method is to just take it with a pinch of salt. But if you wake up and you've had a good amount of sleep and you feel like energetic and buzzing, then I'd wait to look at your Whoop data at the end of the day rather than at the start. So for me personally, do I recommend the Whoop, and will I be continuing to use a Whoop? For me, the Whoop was really good. However, the fact that I felt a lot more, tired and sometimes more stressed by constantly checking the analytics and data of the Whoop means I probably won't continue to use it. However, I will still use it for the training and for getting to know about my recovery, heart rate and everything else. So instead of frantically checking my Whoop band, what I will do is revert back to Sleep Cycle. And this is an app which I used, which is around £30 for the whole year, which is really good. With Sleep Cycle, it's actually a fitness tracker, but on an app. So it will tell you how much sleep you're getting, the stages of sleep. So still very similar to Whoop. However, it's probably not as accurate. But with the Sleep Cycle app, it means although I trade a little bit of accuracy, I'm not going to have the same amount of stress and feeling tired from checking the data, which is really helpful. So I think it's a really good middle ground. Whereas if you're like a super high level athlete, then that's where I'd look at the Whoop and prioritize that. So yeah, I hope this review has helped. And if you want to get 10% off your first Whoop band, just use code. I'm messing. There's no code, there's no nothing, so don't worry. But yeah, I hope the review helped. And as always, drop a like, drop a subscription, and I'll catch you next time.